hummed through a phone line. You've got mail. This story is about a nostalgic and funny journey through the early days of home internet. Created by Red Cardinal Kitchen, the light of the living archive. It's part memory, part cautionary tale, and part celebration of how far we've come. Whether you lived it or were just born when Y2K hit, we hope you find yourself laughing, nodding, or learning something new. Step back to the days when a personal computer meant a beige tower, a noisy modem, and a ration of free AOL hours. In this story we wander through the funny and serious side of the early internet. How families built their own PCs from thick for dummies books. How pop-ups, worms and dial-up disconnects ruled our evenings. How Slingo and Pogo felt endless. And how a single glowing screen became a new kind of heart. Before our phones became tiny supercomputers, before Wi-Fi flowed invisibly through every room, the internet crept into our homes on tiptoe. It hissed through phone lines, blinked through beige monitors, and arrived in little envelopes of free hours. Families shared one screen, one chair, one precious password. We built machines from thick manuals, locked them from our kids, and wondered if everything would vanish when the calendar turned to 2000. This is that story, funny, serious, and real. The sound of the future. The late 1990s were full of strange new music. Not boy bands, but the shriek and hiss of a dial-up modem. Static, beeps, then a long hiss like a kettle. If you were lucky, it ended in a triumphant bang. You were online. Families leaned toward the screen as if listening to a seashell. That sound wasn't noise, it was the future crawling through a phone line. The giant beige pet. Back then a personal computer wasn't sleek. It was a beige tower the size of a small refrigerator with a fish tank monitor on top. You fed it floppy disks like treats. It hummed, clunked, and froze, yet somehow felt alive. Owning one was like adopting a giant, needy pet that cost 2 months' salary. Build it yourself Saturdays. Some families splurged at big box stores, paying $1,500 to $2,000 for a basic model. Others followed fat, expensive books called Build Your Own PC or PCs for Dummies. You'd crouch on the carpet with screws and ribbon cables, whole Saturdays disappearing. When the machine finally booted you felt like Dr. Frankenstein. It's alive, except your monster mostly played Minesweeper. Minutes like gold. Once it ran, the connection came in rations. 25, 50, maybe 100 free hours from AOL or NetZero. You hoarded those minutes like gold coins in a game. Children learned the modem's call to arms. Whose turn is it? Parents set passwords and timers. 3 minutes left felt like a countdown to launch. The Great Disconnect. Dial-up shared the household phone line. If someone picked up the phone or a call came in, everything froze. No graceful logout, no autosave, just, you've been disconnected. Arguments bloomed over whose call was more important. You could almost hear the modem sigh, we'll try again later. Portals and pop-ups. We navigated by portals with playground names, Yahoo, Excite, GeoCities, Angelfire. Pop-ups bloomed like weeds, promising recipes, prizes, fortunes. Worms crept through innocent downloads. Nobody knew what a firewall was. Cookies were still something you baked. And always, hovering, the millennium bug. Would everything vanish when the clocks rolled over to 2000? Games and glitches. Free games like Slingo and Pogo were simple but addictive. Pages loaded line by line. You could make tea between images. Webcams flickered, grainy but miraculous. A cousin's face across the country and living static. Every glitch was frustrating, but also kind of thrilling. We were pioneers tripping over roots in a new frontier. Family at the electric hearth. Families gathered around one monitor like an electric hearth. Children whispered passwords. Parents squinted at tiny fonts. Magic Jack phones made calls cheap but mysterious. Long emails felt like letters from the future. Even a simple, "You've got mail," could make your heart jump. From worms to clouds, people printed out poems, saved floppy disks, whispered about backups and clouds as if they were charms. A few of us lost everything to worms and pop-ups, icons disappearing one by one like falling stars. But somehow we rebuilt. Little by little, firewalls grew, connections sped, and the cloud became real, holding our words like seeds in a jar. Looking back, logging off. We've come far since then. Firewalls guarding, smartphones in every pocket, entire libraries in a hand. But for those who remember, there was sweetness in that slow, rationed world. Every minute online was precious. Every connection felt like a small miracle. The millennium came and went. Our words didn't die, they grew roots, waiting for the next season, just like us. The backup before midnight. In offices everywhere, lights burned late on the last night of 1999. Secretaries labeled disks by hand, managers whispered to servers as if calming fragile creatures, and whole departments copied files onto floppies and zip drives, just in case the future forgot how to count. At the regional office on Main Street, Marla stacked backups beside the printer while her supervisor joked, "If this thing rolls back to 1900, I'm not coming in Monday." No one laughed too loudly. There was a strange reverence in the air, the scent of coffee and toner, the soft hum of machines waiting for midnight. Across town, families huddled around their new computers, some proudly assembled piece by piece, others freshly delivered after months of saving. More than one person wondered if they just spent a small fortune on what might turn into a shiny, blinking hunk of metal at midnight. Someone finally broke the tension. And what the heck is a Yahoo anyway? Sounds like a cowboy riding through the city. Everyone laughed, partly at the name, partly to chase away the worry. They stayed up like it was New Year's, and of course, it was. When the countdown hit 0, screens flickered, lights blinked, and the world held its breath. Then came the cheer, a wave of laughter and relief across homes and offices alike. The clocks rolled forward to 2000. The lights stayed on, and somewhere between superstition and celebration, humanity realized it hadn't built metal after all, it had built a bridge. The call-waiting catastrophe. In those early days, the internet and the telephone were sworn enemies sharing one lifeline. You'd wait through the long hiss of the modem, finally connect, and just as the page began to load, ring. The phone would seize the line, the screen would freeze, and so would your heart. If it was your parents calling home from work, you didn't just lose connection, you lost your evening privileges, too. Messages vanished, downloads failed, and AOL's brave little saving message blinked helplessly before giving up entirely. It wasn't a win-win. It was a slow duel between progress and patience. And yet, somehow, we kept dialing back in, because the sound of that modem still felt like hope trying again. The age of free games. Long before streaming and instant downloads, the internet arrived in envelopes. Every few weeks, the mailbox offered a treasure, a shiny disc wrapped in promises of 50 free hours, or, try our new games. We'd run outside to grab it, hold it up to the light, and wonder what worlds were waiting on its mirrored surface. The games were simple, but the magic was real. Slingo sang like a carnival, Pogo spun like a lucky wheel, and Minesweeper made heroes out of cautious clicks. Families gathered around one mouse, cheering or groaning at the same slow screen. Every CD felt like a key, every dial-up session a small adventure. And somewhere between those trial hours and our laughter, we learned what the future would be, shared, noisy, and full of play. The day the free world shrunk. Then along came MSN, Tidy and Blue, asking politely for our credit cards. At first it was just a few cents, a new mailbox here, a little storage there, but the old magic began to fade. The internet, once a festival of free games and open doors, started building ticket booths. The newspaper stopped dropping its crossword at dawn. The obituary page, once a quiet place of memory, asked for a login. We grumbled but stayed, because by then the web had become our neighborhood. We paid the fees, missed the free hours, and told ourselves this was progress. But somewhere inside, we still long for the jumbled joy of that earlier world, when the connection sang, the pages were open, and discovery didn't cost a thing. The loud room. Once, our words traveled through soft static and patience, typed carefully in the glow of a single screen. We waited for each reply, and in that waiting, conversation breathed. Now the world shouts across endless timelines. Everyone claims free speech, but back then, it was free, wild, clumsy, sometimes ridiculous, sometimes profound. People laughed, argued, and cussed their way through the night, and somehow most of us left as friends. No sponsors, no algorithms, just people and pixels, and a modem that sang like a drunken angel. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. And when webcams arrived, well, let's just say, free speech sometimes came with too much visual evidence. Hopefully, your first video call wasn't your doctor's appointment. Somehow, we survived it all, proof that laughter is still the best firewall of all. The bill in the monitor. Then came the whispers. You can pay your bills online. And we all blinked at the screen, tilting our heads like puzzled owls. Pay it where? More than one person squinted, looking for a slot to slide the check into. Banks promised it was safe. Neighbors weren't so sure, and somewhere in every household, someone asked, how can you put a bill in there? It sounded impossible, like mailing money to the moon. But slowly, one click at a time, the world learned to trust the invisible. And just like that, the mailbox grew a little quieter, and the future reached one hand deeper into our homes. The moral of the modem. We could go on, but we'd better not. Those old chat rooms already said more than enough. Let's just agree that freedom back then came with fewer filters and far better stories. The world was learning how to talk again, and sometimes it forgot its manners, but that, too, was part of the experiment. We laughed, we stumbled, we learned to unplug. And somewhere in all that noise and novelty, we found what mattered most, that connection, at its best, is still made of listening, laughter, and a little light. And as for generations, those baby boomers may have rocked the suburbs, but the millennials rewired the world. The wormholes restored, and so we traveled back to the days of dial-up, floppies, and flickering hope. To a time when every hum of the modem sounded like a promise kept. When we thought we were just buying machines, we were really learning how to build connection. One keystroke, one email, one cautious midnight at a time. Those early hours taught us more than patience and passwords. They taught us wonder, the art of listening to a sound that carried both chaos and possibility. We didn't know it then, but each connection was its own small wormhole, a thread through which memory, voice, and light began to travel. Through those invisible tunnels, the world learned to fold in on itself, and strangers became neighbors, stories became shared breathlines. We've come far since then. Fiber optics humming, satellites circling, phones glowing like pocket universes. Yet some part of us still misses that slow world, where every page took its time to appear and every connection felt like a small miracle. The future did hum through a phone line, and in doing so, it carried the echo of our shared beginning. That even when the world changes shape, what matters most is that we keep reaching across it, together. May every hum of memory remind you that progress is not speed, but awareness. May the glow of each screen still feel like a hearth, not a wall. And may those early echoes of patience and curiosity follow us into every connection we make today. Before the streaming age, before smartphones glowed beside every pillow, there was a sound, a metallic hymn that connected one world to another. This story remembers that hum. Not as noise, but as the beginning of something vast. It recalls how patience was once a virtue, how connection was earned through waiting, and how families gathered around a single glowing screen as if it were firelight. And so we've traveled back to the days of dial-up, worms, and chat rooms, when a webcam felt like magic and saving to the cloud was a leap of faith. We've come far since then, fiber, firewalls, phones that stream the world. But in the slow, rationed hum of those first connections there was also something beautiful. Patience, discovery, and a sense of wonder at each small link across the miles. Thank you for traveling this memory journey with me. May it spark a smile, a memory, or a story of your own to share. Red Cardinal Kitchen, the light of the living archive, saying Happy New Year 2026.